Hello and welcome to the Adventures of LBZ. I'm your host, Lance Collins. And if you are new to this channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Also, if you like this video, please hit the like button. In today's video, I will be building a 2022 Honda CRF250r and taking it for a test ride. And if you are new to these PDIs, I cannot play the audio from the video. I have to do a voiceover and put some music in the background so that it's not too boring, just for privacy reasons, so that I can keep doing these at work. And the first thing you'll need is a pair of cutters so that you can get the straps to strap down the accessories to the bike, and also cut the ties for the handlebars. And I think there might have been some around the master cylinder on this. I know there's a 10 on there too, but oh, and the wheels, that's right, the wheel. And the box actually has the owner's manual. Let's see here, the front number plate, the skid plate, the rotor guard, your handlebar bolts for the master cylinder, and the actual bolts for the triple clamp. I'm trying to think what else is in there. Skid plate bolts were in there also. If you like nice, that is a Benchmade bug out, and I switched the clip to a mini Griptilian clip because I liked it better. That's why. Basically what I'm doing here is just kind of laying all the little parts out just to make it easier. I don't really need to keep them in individual packs because I already know where they all go. I've already read the whole setup instructions pre-taking the bike out of the crate. That way I would have a jump start on a brand new bike coming in case there was anything new that I didn't know. I do refer back to it for torque specs for the handlebar bolts and pinch bolts and stuff like that. So you'll see it come out later in the video also. You'll also see next that I'll pull the owner's manual and competition manual out. Everybody should read this if you buy this bike. This is literally like the service manual for this bike. You'll be able to service this bike. You can do everything on your own if you're mechanically inclined. But even if you're not, read through that. That way you know what everything needs to be on this bike. What charger you need, all the maintenance you need to do. That way, if something does break, you'll know that either it broke because lack of maintenance or it broke because mechanical defect or something, which I do not see a whole lot of. And not to say it can't happen, this is a brand new bike, but usually it's because lack of maintenance. So what I'm doing here is wiping the rotors off with the Maxima electric brake clean, and it does not stick around as long as the Honda stuff does on there. That way it's not going to catch on fire later, and the fumes aren't too terrible with that stuff. It smells like oranges. And like any of the other PDI videos, anything attached to the handlebars is usually a 12 millimeter, and that's what I'm taking off there. Also, for the bolts that hold the foot pegs to the crate, or the straps that come off the foot pegs, those are 12 also. The master cylinder there is a 10, and the rest of the bolt crates are. If you are doing one of these PDIs, make sure you wear some kind of gloves, because you'll see in some of the videos, these crates are very sharp and can cut you open pretty quick. So can the bolts, because they like to strip them in there from the factory sometimes. And you can take all the bolts out of the crate on these, and it's not going to fall over. You can see that it's sitting on a pad in the center there. As long as you don't take the bolts out of the center pad, which you could even do that, it's just going to drop it down on the forks, and you don't want to damage the customer's forks unless it's your bike you're doing it to and you want to damage the forks. Go ahead. But yeah, you can take all the outer bolts out of these crates, and it's not going to fall over on this one. In fact, you're going to need a second person or some kind of a hoist to get it out of the crate. And what I'm doing is actually taking the foot straps completely off of it, because I'm going to have one of my other employees give me a hand with lifting this out of the crate. And you won't see me actually lift it out of the crate. I have to have another employee help, and for his privacy, I didn't record that part. Those are the 12 millimeters that hold the crate stay down into the triple stay. So I went ahead and zapped them out. I keep those bolts because they don't have a whole lot of the 12s. Just a whole bunch of 10s in there. And throw away all the rest of them. Now I'm going to install the handlebars with the 2 triple tree clamps. And I believe the bolts that actually hold it down, though, that are back in the hardware are 10 millimeters. What I'm doing there is lining the bars up. There actually is a white dot that you can't see on the camera that you line it up to, and it's kind of just a factory spec of where it goes. Some riders will move it up or down or get rid of these bars and put a different set on there. These are the Renthal fat bars that they have on this particular model now for 2022. I'm just using a T-handle now to tighten these down. I will go back before it's all said and done and torque them to what the setup manual says to. This is a number 2 Phillips to remove the start button so that I can get the plastic off of the handlebars that is below it and in part of the tube there. And then I'll put it back over into place and tighten it back up. And I'm going to use an 8mm T-handle here, and like I said, with the other stuff I go back and torque everything to what the spec is on the setup sheet. Now time to remove the battery. That was an 8mm T-handle also. There's 2 of those bolts. I just dropped one under the crate that I got to get after I get this bolt out. And under there will be a battery strap around a lithium battery. Make sure that if you own one of these bikes that you have a lithium charger, not a standard charger, but a battery charger that can charge lithium. If you buy this, buy that charger. You will thank me later. This battery is extremely small, and they do not like the cold weather. So get yourself a good charger. I use a NoCo Genius 2 and set it on the lithium setting whenever I'm charging these, and it will balance it out and everything, what it's got to do properly. Usually takes about double the time of what it would normally take for a regular lead acid battery to charge. Time to install the factory cable ties. These look like zip ties, and yes, they do zip together, but you can remove them. That's why I'm not taking the ends and cutting them off on this particular model. Normally I would, but this particular tie you can take off and on with a little push tab that it has. And right here I am installing the fork pinch bolts on the axle. Time Force from Honda. Spray penetration lube. I'll spray that on the axle here. You'll see I'll spray it over the trash can so it doesn't go on the floor and make it slick. I just put that in there just because it keeps the axle from rusting or anything in there. I don't like to put the anti-seize on the off-road stuff. It likes to gum up on the outside there, and then the dirt sticks to it and it pounds the seals out, and then people are wondering why they're replacing bearings all the time. And also another thing that kills them is over tightening your axle. So get yourself, if you're going to work on one of these, a good torque wrench for torquing your axle. It is in your competition book on exactly what to torque the fork pinch bolts at the bottom there and the axle nut. What I'm going to do next is actually roll the bike off the stand, and then I'm going to hold the front brake and press the forks up and down a few times. All the bolts are loose, pinch bolts. The axle is together with the nut, but it's not tight. And what this is going to do is align the bottom forks properly there. There's not going to be any binding later on whenever the new owner of this bike takes it out for the first ride. And no, I'm not taking these down to 54 Uggs. I'm just running the bolts down. They're pretty long in them, and I didn't want to sit there forever with a ratchet, so I just ran them down until they stopped and grabbed my torque wrench. And as much as I hate to do this, 95% of my videos are watched by non-subscribers, so if you're new, please consider subscribing. And yes, I am OCD. I just put my torque wrench that I'm going to need to tighten the pinch bolts up back in there. The reason why I went over that so many times with the torque wrench is because with the aluminum, you'll notice that when you tighten one up, and then tighten the other one up, you'll go back to the other side and check the torque, and it will be looser. So you just go ahead and give her a little bit more, and you'll see that it will turn probably a quarter turn more. Tighten up, and you do that 2 or 3 times until both of them do not break the torque wrench down. Using an 8mm T-handle to put the front number plate on. Be careful whenever you're starting this bolt into the triple tree there. It's very easy to get it cross-threaded. Don't use an impact. You definitely will send it in there sideways, and you'll be having to tap it out and helicoil it. And I thought that they were 10mm for the seat bolts, but they're 8mm bolts. I had to go back and get my 8mm T-handle and take these out. At first, they're a little tricky with the plastics being new. Some of the, I guess, scrap pieces off of the plastic, aren't all the way out of the plastic yet, and it likes to hold it in there. And the plastic they put on the seat also holds it in there. I don't know if you can notice from this video, but man, the seat is super thin compared to a normal seat. It's crazy how thin and lighted it actually is, and the welds in the tank are pretty cool. I think that may be like a titanium there on those tanks. I'm not too sure if that's what they do on them now, but they're pretty light, and the welds look pretty cool on them. Looks like titanium at least. And time to put the front rotor guard on. That is a 5mm Allen. And make sure whenever you're putting these in also that you're careful not to get them cross-threaded. Very easy on these fork bolts to get them cross-threaded, especially if you're using some kind of an impact or electric gun. So I suggest using the good old-fashioned hand tools on this one. The bolts that hold the skid plate on are also the 8mm, and I'm using a T-handle also on those. And I'd also suggest starting the bolts that go into the skid plate by hand. Do not use any kind of power tool. That piece of frame that sticks out there that holds it in is a very thin piece and would not hold very much of a Healy coil if you stripped it out. And if you're curious, I set these to 12 psi. as always, when I'm done, I didn't record using the compressed air, but I blew it off first, and then now I will use the Honda spray polish and cleaner and wipe the whole bike down and make it all nice and shiny for the customer, which happens to be a very good customer that I've dealt with for the past 18 years. That's silicone spray, as you can see. I just spray that on the case that is around the battery. There's a rubber case and it's really tight to get in there. It makes it slide in and out a lot easier. I did want to show too was checking the coolant on this. It is behind one of the radiator shrouds there, but you know, people walking in and out of the shop, I had to cut that part out so they weren't in the video. This is the 2022 Honda CRF250r, and I'm going to do a quick test ride on it. I just did the complete PDI. Got a couple more things to button up that aren't on the PDI. This customer that is purchasing this wants different chain, some other good things on it. Just like any other dirt bike that's out there, it's going to have your brake and your clutch, your start button, and your kill switch and your map select. All right, let's see what she's got. Starts like butter. Of course, it's starting to rain now, so I can't really dog this thing too bad. I know this customer will be taking these Pirelli Scorpions off of here and putting some Dunlop, so not too worried about tearing the tires up on the asphalt. Just don't want to bust my butt. Let's see what she's got here. Yeah, the asphalt can't hold the power. And that's going to be it for today's video. If you're new to this channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Why? Because this is the place to be for all your power sports needs. Also, if you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button. Thanks and have a great day.